Hello and welcome to Tabletop Inn. Please join me at the tavern table while I give you an overview on Windward. Windward is a pickup and delivery game designed for 1 to 5 players, and it plays up to 30 to 90 minutes. Why don't I go ahead and switch over to the overhead cam and I'll give you a quick overview on the game. So I have the camera kind of angled horizontally towards the board rather than looking face down, so you can really get a feel of what these components are like. All of these components are on a stand of some sort. All of the creatures are on a stand. The player ships are on stands. Then you've got the main player ship, and then you've got little dinghies here. They fairly easily pop off the stands, but that's okay. A little bit of super glue would never hurt it. Although I'm not sure how well they would store when they're super glued to their stands, so keep that in mind. But essentially, what you're doing is you're playing as a captain of one of these sail ships, and you are going around trying to hunt these creatures called cresters. Each crester has its own tooth. We have both red and gray teeth to signify the red and gray cresters, which are here. One thing I really love about this game is the components. They're really well detailed. If the camera will focus, that'd be great. It's focusing on the back one. There we go. The components are really great. So that's the idea, is you're going around this world hunting these cresters for victory points. You gain victory points by taking these teeth and turning them in at the port once you end up back here in the center. So, to start off the game, after setup is complete, each player will roll the die. The person with the highest number is the first player. After that, you will roll the wind die, which is the blue one, and you will move the flag to the direction on the bottom of this plate that has the number on it. In this case, right now, it's facing the 1. That signifies allowable movement for the players. Now, these boats obviously have sails on them. So if you were to move in the direction with the wind, so if any of these tiles facing this way, if you want to move this way, that movement is free because you're using the wind. But if you want to move any other direction, you have to use a movement point. You cannot go against the wind. That's not how sailboats work. You have to go with the wind in some way, shape, or form. Excuse my phone. So that's basically how movement works and how you start the game. Players, when they want to go battle these cresters, you'll notice that the cresters, the gray and the red ones, had different heights on their stands. The gray cresters are a lot lower. The red cresters are higher. That is because they don't want you using your main ship to battle these cresters. Yes, you have to battle them in order to hunt them. They are very aggressive sky whales, is one way to look at it. So essentially the reason why they're on different stands though is because the main boat cannot interact with the gray cresters, which are weaker, and your dinghies cannot interact with your red cresters, meaning you can't just drop all your dinghies and then go attack it. So that's the reason why there are different elevations, is because the gray cresters can only be interacted with your dinghies, the red cresters can only be interacted with your main boat. Now how combat works. Combat works by rolling these custom die. These die all have harpoon heads on them. They have 3 1s, 2 2s, and 1 3s. Essentially, the amount of die you get to roll is determined by your ship's strength. Your main ship, you're able to roll 2 die at a base value. Your dinghies, you're only able to roll 1. The gray cresters, which are also going to be rolling these die to determine the basically the return attack that you get, will also be rolling a set of die. The gray cresters will be rolling 1 die. The red cresters will be rolling 5. There are 8 in total, excuse me. I had to do a quick count. So these red cresters are really strong, but their victory point value is also the same. So gray cresters are worth 1 point, the red cresters are worth 5. So it is advantageous eventually to attempt to go after one of these red cresters. Onto the trade mat off to the side here, if I can get it over here without spilling everything. Here we are. So this is the trade port. So basically when you're in port in this section, which is denoted by your player board here, when you get to the center section, you can place your ship here to say you're at port, in which case you are able to basically resupply, which means you can draw a card here. You can hire crew by you picking up one of these tiles. You can choose whichever one you want. You can also use any of these actions using gas. We'll get to gas in a moment. This also is showing our victory point tracker here along the bottom. The first player to 15 points is the winner. So that's a little bit of a high overview on the port actions. The other actions you can do in the sky is drop your longboats, which basically is what you're going to want to do when you go after these gray cresters. You can also add to your longboat speed. Now everything has speed, both your big boats and your longboats. That's basically showing or telling you how many actions you can take. I believe the at base you have 3 speed to use per turn. Now, as I said, you don't need to use speed when you're moving with the wind. However, your longboats always need speed no matter what. They do not get the benefit of being able to move with the wind. You can also get more ship speed, so you can have an additional movement if you're trying to move around the board. And then you can also process cresters. Those are your at-sky actions. So after you've defeated a crester, you lay it down on the board and then you basically tow it back to your ship where it goes into your cargo hold. And then you can use an action to process that crester into the teeth. There's also some various other things that are on the board that I don't have set up, but there's these little icons here that are basically like air balloons. That's where gas will go. Basically, you can go out there and pick up this gas, and that's how you get it. You also gain gas from processing your cresters, I believe. If that is not correct, I apologize. It's been a minute since we played this game. There's also some achievement cards that you can use. I believe these are also optional, though. You don't have to play these. In fact, I believe the game recommends that you don't play with these cards initially and you will go through the base game. There's also a cooperative variant where you and your fellow captains are going to be facing the white crester, which is this lovely guy right here. He hurts. We haven't had a chance to play with this variant yet, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but essentially the captains and the white crester have lives. So if you go down, you're not out of the game, but the captains do use a life. So a lot of variation to this game. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. This board is double-sided, so if you've been playing the game for a while and you want an extra challenge, you can have a smaller world. So it lines up kind of well. So you can obviously see that this world is a lot smaller than the first side. Me and my friends, we more so than not, I don't think we've ever actually played with the smaller world. We don't like it when the board is so small that you can't do anything. Also, aside from that, these cresters will chase you. So if you are in their area, they will come after you. And if they reach you before your turn ends, they will attack you. And as I said, they hurt. So that's also another way you can get a good way to get those cresters is if you've stockpiled a lot of these cards, which a lot of them say, like this one, the countermeasure says +2 hits in battle when defending. So after you've rolled your die, you basically gain, so in this case we've got 4 at a base here, you add this to it and now you have 6. So it is advantageous sometimes to let them come after you, but just be sure you're prepared. So there's a lot going on in this game. That was a super high overview. Why don't I go ahead and sit back down and give you my thoughts after we've played this game a couple of times. So I'll go ahead and sit back down and give you my thoughts on it. So that was a super high overview of Windward. The only reason I really didn't get into too much detail is because the possibilities for this game are fairly endless. There's 3 different variants that you can play. One with there's a asymmetric player who is researching the cresters instead of hunting them, so they're getting victory points in a different way. There's the free-for-all for the white crester, who's got the lives. There's the cooperative mode that's got the white crester in it as well, excuse me. There's a solo mode. So this game is huge. There's so much going on in it. Another thing about this game is the components are fantastic. You have these little guys that you're representing crewmates that you take actions with, and the detail on them is fantastic. As you saw, the boats and the cresters are fantastic, and I really like the fact that they use the different size stand to signify, hey, these can only interact with each other because they're on the same plane. So that was a really great thing too. I love the fact that the boats can move with the wind and you're not having to use a movement point, excuse me, because it makes sense. If you're moving with the wind, you shouldn't have to use any kind of power. You're just sailing along. I really like how the combat works. You know, it really does kind of bring out the whole, you know, if you get that lucky shot by rolling, you know, a bunch of threes off of something, you know, it does bring in a lot of luck into the game. Some of you may like that, some of you may not, but I think it's balanced out really well because, as I said, you can also have those cards that add to your attacking power. So if you really don't trust luck, you can really stockpile on those attacking cards or defending cards to kind of balance out your potential bad luck like I have. There's not really a whole much much more I can say about this game, excuse me, besides that I love it, my friends love it. It was one of our favorites as soon as we played it. And I really look forward to playing it again, especially on stream, because it's one of the games that we know, and it's a game that we've had fun with. So yeah, that is about all I have to say on Windward. Thank you so much for watching. If there's anything I could have done better, please leave a comment. If you have any questions on the game, also please leave a comment. If you like the video, please leave a like to let me know. If you didn't like the video, leave a dislike to let me know. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed your stay at the Tabletop Inn. We'll see you next time.